just open up opportunities for as many people as possible. And there are some things that you may not fully round off in the course of your tenure. Please, let there be cooperation.
Secretary to the government of Ogun State, who was a guest at the ceremony, said that life would be better if the principles of Rotary clubs were adopted by the larger society.
And if we abide by the structure that Rotary has put in, which has succession, it's already ingrained in their DNA, the need to always improve society is the bedrock of all that Rotary is doing. How can I improve the society? How can I, within 1 year, make impact? And that means you have time, you have desire, and then you have delivery. So you check yourself because you are going to measure yourself.
Several stakeholders expressed confidence that the president of the club will continue to take his responsibilities seriously. Reporting for Plus TV Africa, Adebanke Odunuyi.
Well, it has been decades in Nigeria since the Rotary Club played this crucial role in the society. So the charge here to the new president is to consolidate it on the legacy of the club. The rate of out-of-school children in Nigeria has been a thing of concern, as lots still needs to be done to reduce the scourge. A Human Development Initiative has underscored the place of the Parents Forum to achieve effective education for this demography. Justin Akadonye has more.
The federal government says Nigeria's out-of-school children has dropped to 6.946 million from 10.1 million. To sensitize parents on this issue and keep these young children in school, the Human Development Initiative feels it is imperative to sensitize the parents on what is expected of them.
Even with this pandemic, there are lots of out-of-school children. So, we believe that the home is the foundation of everything, even including education. And these children, they come out from their home into the streets or whatever they have to do. So this Parents Forum, they are representative in different schools.
Without inclusive and equitable quality education and lifelong opportunities for all, Nigeria will not succeed in breaking the cycle of poverty which has left millions of children behind. So in the wake of the World Education Day, which focuses on recovering and revitalizing education for the COVID-19 generation, stakeholders say now is the time to step up collaboration to place education at the center of the recovery.
Parents have the duty to ensure that their children are enrolled in schools. The same applies to even guardians. So it's very critical for people to realize that any parent that fails to do due diligence to enroll their children or even wards in school, they have contravened the law.
So for the parents, it will no longer be business as usual, as they speak of charting a new path.
I'm going to support to the fullest of my ability the Lagos State Leave No Child Behind. I'm going to reduce the number that we've been told here that more than 15 million children are out of school.
Before the reception, we parents came together to buy wash hand basin, then towel, sanitizer, and soap. So for the children to be able, before they can enter the class, they will wash their hands.
Less than 40% of girls in sub-Saharan Africa complete lower secondary school, and some 4 million children and youth refugees are out of school. The right to education of many is being violated, and it is time to change the narrative.
Well, both the government and every well-meaning organization are advised to do all they can to help these children back to school. We will bring you more on Plus reports after this break. we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
A 500 naira they collect them. If you no talk, then go beat you. Now 2,500 they pay.
Thanks for staying with us. An app known as Rescue Me app has been launched. It is to aid the timely arrival of police officers to crime scene anywhere in the country in a bid for more tackling of insecurity in the country. This development has led to reactions among a cross-section of Nigerians and security experts. With Nigeria battling with insecurity, taking proactive steps is seen as steps in the right direction. It is noted that the new application uses internet services and is global position satellite GSP based. We spoke to a cross-section of Nigerians across the streets of Lagos to have their views on the new development.
It's a good move actually, but it won't really help for the masses, for people that don't have Android phones and all. And it's not everybody that can afford data.
It is meant for the hairlights, people that are educated, that can use applications. You understand? But what of the downtrodden? What of the masses? What of the uneducated ones?
This is also the take of the security experts.
It ought to have come earlier before now, but it's better now than never. So for me, I think it's a welcome development, but it's also a question of managing it, because the problem has always been capacity of the personnel to manage such facilities.
A lot of the banditry and criminality issues that we're talking about happen in remote villages. A significant population of those remote villages are living under abject poverty. The phones they can afford, if at all they can afford phones, are not smartphones. And so the usage of apps is impossible for them.
According to Kabiru Adamu, it's not only the police that should ensure a wide reach and accessibility of the app, but also government and telecommunication operators.
This is the responsibility of government to work with these telephone companies to expand their reach. If they don't come second, then they are the third highest revenue generating industry in the country. And so it's not rational, it's not logical that they are making this profit and yet they are not investing in infrastructure.
Rescue Me app highlights 8 different types of alerts in emergency cases like homicide, medical situation, rape, assault, robbery, kidnapping, domestic threats, burglary, and violence. It is a commendable move by the Nigerian police force. Now, the replacement of service chief is part of the stories that has been making headlines as last few years had cross-section of Nigerians call for their replacement as cases of insecurity kept mounting. Now, Some are wondering if firing them would solve the problem. This report has more.
YCE security scholar Lord appointment. Ex-defense chief minister ask Nigerians not to expect much. Nwodo, others fault Buhari as Ohaneze keeps mum. Stockbrokers applaud, expect an end to terrorism, banditry. Wike, Pandef, others say action belated. PDP, Fayoshe, seek probe of former security chiefs. All these are screaming headlines describing a range of reactions to one of the biggest talking points this week. On the 26th of January 2021, a special advisor to the president on media and publicity, Femi Adesina, announced that, quote, President Muhammadu Buhari has accepted the immediate resignation of the service chiefs and their retirement from service, end of quote. Prior to this, Nigeria's military had come under severe criticism over its supposed failings. The call for the sack of top military leaders reached its peak as it resonated in the National Assembly at frequent intervals. Finally, Major General Lucky Rabo, Chief of Defense Staff, Major General I. Atahiru, Chief of Army Staff, Rear Admiral A.Z. Gambo, Chief of Naval Staff, and Air Vice Marshal I.O. Amao, Chief of Air Staff, have been picked to replace the retired military top brass, General Abayomi Olonishaki, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, Vice Admiral Ibokete Ibas, and Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, respectively. While the nation's main opposition party, the PDP, says the appointment of the new service chiefs is rather late in the day, the ruling APC says it welcomes the development and calls for public support. Generally, the reactions have been mixed.
That's a good decision.
We have been expecting this sack for a very long time.
To me, it's a very, very good thing. It is very good if they give chance for a fresh idea.
Public affairs analysts are also having a field day as they throw in their 2 cents.
To some persons, it's a welcome development, and to some others, it's belated. I will want to align with the latter views because the crime and the violence in the country was even gotten out of proportion.
Former President Olusegun Obasanjo, who said that even the removal of the service chiefs is not likely to improve on the quality of our security situations. And he is a professional. I'm a bloody civilian, candidly. So the only thing I can say about the change that has come, I can only hope that the new service chiefs will be faithful to their professional duties.
Despite diverse opinions, a closer look shows that Nigerians do not yearn for just a technical defeat of insurgents, but a total eradication of banditry, kidnappings, terrorism, and other forms of crime. Vivian Uguche for Plus TV, Africa.
Well, the quest here is that Nigeria might rise above the eel of insecurity, and every well-meaning government should do all they can. Outside Nigeria now, shortly after U.S. President Joe Biden picks his cabinet, the division within the Democratic Party became very clear. In this report, Vivian Oguche takes a look at the impacts of the President Biden's executive orders and appointments.
Back in 1791, George Washington convened the first cabinet meeting in America 2 centuries ago. Though he didn't call it by that name, he enshrined the idea of promoting diverse perspectives at the heart of America's government. Of course, when this happened, all the voices in the room were white and male. Fast forward to 2021 and it's a whole different ballgame.
The first and foremost was for him to pick a black South Asian person as a vice president. So he didn't stop there. He has also gone ahead to appoint so many non-Caucasians into the cabinet. One prominent one being appointment of a black man as the defense minister.
Now, while the president must live up to his commitment to assemble a diverse cabinet that will not only unify his fractured party, but also get confirmed by a bitterly divided Senate, progressives are pressuring Biden to avoid selecting people with ties to past policy positions or industries to which they object.
There is a party after party, which is the internal wrangling of the parties. Even in the Republican, you have the moderate, you have the traditionalists, you have the radicals and all. So that is embedded in the Democratic Party. But whatever be the case, it's a party that is strong, that is built on sound principles.
Before and after his inauguration, Joe Biden made no bones about reversing most of former President Donald Trump's policies, and he has done just that. These analysts say a number of these executive orders stand out.
The U.S. has been the highest donor to the World Health Organization, so that was really going to affect the capacity of that organization to function. So his reversal will now, increase that capacity to function properly.
The dreamers, the DACA policy of the past, he has restored it back with a bill to the Congress to integrate the dreamers.
There's a consensus here. Traditional allies of the United States are celebrating a likely return to normalcy as they continue to speak of a need to rebuild ties and multilateral cooperation against challenges such as the COVID-19 pandemic and climate change after Trump's America First approach upended decades of U.S. foreign policy. Vivian Uguche for Plus TV, Africa.
Though not surprising, as expectations from this new administration is huge. And as a wrap on this week's edition of Plus Reports, please follow us on Plus TV Africa on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and do subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa. I'm Jacinta Obiugu. Thanks for watching.
A crime is a crime, and it doesn't matter who commits it. Whoever commits a crime should be fished out and punished according to the law of the land.
If our public schools were good enough, you won't have to adopt a child selling coconut on the streets.
The kind of leadership we have now, it just reflects us as a people. Now, if we must change that, it means there must be inclusiveness.
The problem with our society is that the systems have all failed. They are old, they are cracky, they are messed up. That's why you see people with malaria coming to Luth or UCH. Because the level where the problem is supposed to have been taken care of before it escalates is not working.
Yes.
It exists but doesn't work.
If you can't tackle health, you can't tackle shelter, you can't tackle education, you can't tackle security.
So what can you tackle?
Excuse me, sir, I'm ma. What exactly are you tackling?
We can't talk about education reform if we don't decolonize our education system.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize. Because it's just cultural. And I think it's just human nature.
They stop paying us salary. I don't like remembering it.
I am angry at Nigeria. I'm angry at this government which seems to be letting us down. I'm angry at us as a people.
In the process of struggling to free myself from his hand, he tore my pants and he raped me.
Yes, I commit offense truly.
Young girl, do you know where you are going? I say, I'm going to America. I say, oh, now so that they talk, you are going to Libya. Which America?
As it then mark our place, some people they die now.
This is Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
Thanks for joining us on the news. I am Annetta Felix. President Muhammadu Buhari has again called on Nigerians to support the development of the country and believes that all hands must be on deck in the quest for nation building. The president, who was in his Daura hometown in Katsina State for the All Progressives Congress membership registration and revalidation exercise, noted that a joint effort is essential to the growth of Nigeria. The 78-year-old also assured that his administration will be transparent and open with the implementation of the 2021 budget. He noted that the budget aptly captured some of the visions of the administration, and all efforts will be poured in to ensure effective implementation. Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde on Sunday held an overnight meeting with selected stakeholders, local government chairs and other political office holders from Ibarakpa. The meeting held at Igbora, Makinde said the meeting aimed at addressing the farmers' herders crisis in the state. The governor informed the people that the government had approved the setting up of a peace and security committee at the local government level. He also disclosed that they would commence in an identity management program in Oyo State.
Governors are the chief security officers, when it is convenient, because quite frankly, the governors, they are at the mercy of federal agencies, to the federal security agencies, to implement, certain laws. So we have to. That's why we ask for the state police in the first instance. It's a constitutional issue, and in the absence of having state police, the states in the southwest came together and we formed Amotekun as a stopgap. So we'll keep problems don't go away.
Pan-Yoruba social cultural group Afenifere has asked President Muhammadu Buhari not to extend the tenure of the Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, as he proceeds on retirement on Monday. Spokesman of the group, Yinka Odumaki, said there were other senior police officers who could better police Nigeria. Odumaki said the IGP had done his bit, but that it was not enough as insecurity persists all over the country. He also suggested that the president should appoint a man who can modernize the police force. Kano State Governor Abdullahi Ganduje is advocating for a law to ban the movement of herdsmen and cattle from the north towards the southern regions of Nigeria. Speaking to journalists after a special lunch with President Muhammadu Buhari in Daura, Ganduje argued that the law will address the issue of cattle rustling in the northern part of the country and curb the recurring clashes between farmers and herdsmen. The governor also commented on the appointment of the new service chiefs. He urged the military hierarchy to work with state governors to ensure safety across the country. The Chief of Defense Staff, Major General Leo Irabo, says there are no freed Chibok girls in the custody of the defense headquarters. He spoke in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital, on Sunday, when he and commanders paid their first operational visit to the theater of the Boko Haram war. Boko Haram insurgents had on April 14, 2014, attacked a government secondary school in Chibok, Borno State, and abducted 276 schoolgirls from their hostels. Rescue efforts and negotiations between the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari and the insurgents led to the release of 107 schoolgirls in batches, leaving 112 in captivity. The Interfaith Dialogue Forum for Peace has charged Christian and Muslim communities in Rivers State to work together to ensure that there is peace. Co-chairman of the Central Coordination Council of the Interfaith Dialogue Forum in for Peace, Mohammed Jamil, gave the charge while inaugurating members at the end of a two-day training organized to foster peace in the state.
Came up with a program that the religious leaders in all of these states should come together and form a team. Then this team are trained on how to observe early warning signs in conflict-prone areas, and then how do you plan early responses? How do you mediate if there are issues that are already happening? And how do you make negotiations? And what is even the essence of interreligious dialogue? These are things we train. After training, then they will now form them into a team. They are now responsible with receiving reports from the citizens of Rivers State of any early warning sign they have seen in their environment.
The newly inaugurated co-chairman in charge of the Christian and Muslim body in the state called on stakeholders to support them in restoring peace.
In the book of Romans chapter 12 verse 18, he said, if it is possible, as it is laid in your heart, live peaceably with all men. So this is our obligation. It is my responsibility as a chairman of CAN to ensure that we live together and we live in harmony. And again, the responsibility of CAN is particularly to strengthen the unity among church bodies, and not only among Christians, but also to stimulate, to champion, to recommend, and to be able to kindle peaceful coexistence with other bodies and other religions.
It is also the appropriate time that it's never too late to talk about peace. We must make conscious effort. We don't just talk about peace, peace, peace. We do just very little conscious effort towards tackling these conflicts at the base roots. That is where this project comes in, and we hope we will succeed in this venture. And it behoves on all Rivers residents, both those in public and private sector, to support this kind of initiative.
The best way to have peace is to begin to talk. And when we see situations, when we join hands, instead of going differently, where we can stem those things down. So my encouragement to them is to be selfless, to be dedicated, and to be determined, even in the face of challenges, because the challenges will come. Even in the face of challenges, let them pull themselves together and continue.
The Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, has urged the Senate President Ahmed Lawan and Speaker of the House of Representatives, Mr. Femi Gbajabiamila, to urgently probe and refer to appropriate anti-corruption agencies allegations that the sum of 4.4 billion naira of public money budgeted for the National Assembly is missing, misappropriated, diverted, or stolen. The group stated that the allegation of missing money was documented in 3 audited reports by the Office of the Auditor General of the Federation. SERAP further stated that the letter is copied to Mr. Abubakar Malami SAN, Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, the Chairman, Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, and Mohammed Abba, Acting Chairman, Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. The chairman of the Senate's Constitution Review Committee, Deputy Senate President Ovio Magege, has given till June 2021 for all matters regarding the Constitution Amendment bills to be submitted to the National Assembly for consideration and passage. The Deputy Senate President, while delivering a keynote address at a Constitution Review retreat organized in collaboration with the National Democratic Institute, NDI, United Nations Women, among others, explains that owing to the importance of the bill, both the upper and lower chamber of the National Assembly will be ready to begin taking parts of the committee's report and will commence passage of some, if not all of it, in June 2021.
You must understand that constitutional review, is an ongoing process. It's not a one-time exercise. We're not going to one day rewrite the entire constitution. But the majority of the submissions that we have received are like about 250 of them in those 13 thematic areas. It is our aspiration that they be considered sometime in June. Majority of them, if not all of them.
Can you imagine that in a Senate of 108 members, only how many are women? In the House of Representatives of 360 members, how many are women? Less than 20. The expectation of Nigerian civil society organizations, indeed Nigerian women, is that the National Assembly will use the opportunity of this constitutional review to address the historic marginalization of Nigerian women in this country, not just in economic life, but also in political life.
NBI is, as I said, is very pleased to be able to support this important work. I wish you good luck and very fruitful deliberations.
The League of Ndokwa professionals have decried what they describe as a threat of marginalization against the Ndokwa community in Delta State. The group says the region has been neglected for far too long, and this is sparking discontent. Plus TV Africa's correspondent Destiny Momo has more.
At the press conference organized by the League of Ndokwa professionals, the President, Tony Amechi, and Publicity Secretary, Barrister Ivan Ufeli, cited the lack of development bedeviling the people of Ndokwa community. Sickle to the newly approved construction of roads in Delta State spread across the region with the exception of Ndokwa land and the recent move by Governor Ifeanyi Okowa to upgrade higher institutions across board. The group wondered why nothing was given to Ndokwa Ukwani land.
For Ndokwa land that has been contributing, majorly to the revenue base of Delta State, what has Delta State done in return, to show that the 13% derivation that the federal government is giving them on monthly basis, is being reflected?
There have been, consistent discrimination and disregard to that region. And what we are saying in effect is that the equitable distribution of the commonwealth of that state is what we are demanding for.
This group says the only visible structure provided by government in the region is a prison stationed in Kwale. Against this backdrop, the President and Publicity Secretary made some demands.
We hereby call on the state government to review the road construction projects with immediate effect and make the necessary adjustment and include roads in Ndokwa land in the projects, avoid protests, social unrest, and or legal action.
The three higher institutions that is meant to be upgraded to universities, none is in Ndokwa land. And we have given the state 14 days within which to, do that, failing which will have no other option than to proceed legally to get redress.
For a region playing host to the biggest gas plant and oil communities in the state, which drives 13% derivation to the state monthly, so much is expected by the people to compensate the indigenes being affected by environmental pollution.
This same region, people are gradually developing kidney failure, lungs disease and all that because of blindness, blindness because of the gas flaring and the environmental issues.
The consensus here is clear. Equitable distribution in primary health care and infrastructural development, among others, will go a long way in appeasing this group and its community at large. Destiny Momo for Plus TV Africa.
Thanks, Destiny, for that report. Now, it isn't rare to see instances of land reclamation, either for residential purposes or tourism development. Now, most of the time, this leads to degradation of wetlands, which are known as nature's buffer zones. In this report, experts call for a deliberate preservation of wetlands for the sake of posterity.
Nigeria is richly endowed with both coastal and inland wetlands, and altogether they cover about 3% of the land surface. Wetlands are valuable for flood protection, shoreline erosion control, recreation, and aesthetics, among other things. Sadly, Nigeria's wetland resources are currently being threatened by lots of factors like population pressure, rapid rate of urbanization, and agriculture, to mention a few. This environmentalist says the tide must begin to turn.
And we don't need to wreck the wetlands. We can do development. We can develop. We can have great lifestyles without wrecking it. We just have to live more in harmony with nature and appreciate the value of nature. As we said at the beginning, your most essential commodity, oxygen, free of charge. Free of charge. Believe you me, if you know what people are paying for oxygen in some of the hospitals now, if they can get it, free of charge. And yet what are we doing? Wrecking the very oxygen supply. And wetlands produce oxygen. And they mitigate climate change. We're on a crisis. In case we didn't know, we are on a crisis and we need to deal with this.
The World Wetlands Day 2021 is still days away, but conservationists and their partners alike are already whetting their appetite with tree planting and a campaign for sustainable land use.
You know, people need places to live, so we understand that. Of course they do. That's true here in Nigeria, it's true in the UK. But what's important is not to destroy important habitats, important wetlands, important tree forested areas without really understanding the impact that's going to have. So better to try and use what we call brownfield sites that have already been used for development before now, redevelop those, turn them into urban domestic areas for housing. Better to at least try and design housing in spaces where wetlands are kept in mind and tree planting is kept in mind, and really to have a balance between nature and people.
To this end, World Wetlands Day aims to raise global awareness about the vital role of wetlands for people and planet. And what better way to preserve the planet than tree planting? Let us plant a tree today.
The Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, has recorded 685 new cases of coronavirus, bringing the total number of infections in the country to 131,242. The NCDC disclosed this on its official Twitter handle late Sunday. The number of cases recorded on Sunday is the least the NCDC has reported in the past 4 weeks, after confirming 576 cases on January 2nd, 2021. The latest update takes the country's infection tally to 131,242, the sixth highest in Africa, behind Ethiopia, Egypt, Tunisia, Morocco, and South Africa. The NCDC announced 8 coronavirus-related deaths in the past 24 hours, taking the country's number of deaths to 1,586. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has said that the demand for oxygen by coronavirus patients has increased to 400 cylinders per day. Sanwo-Olu said this in a statement in which he updated residents on the management of COVID-19 in Lagos. He repeated that oxygen was free in all Lagos State-owned COVID-19 treatment centers. He said considering that oxygen demand has spiked to between 300 and 400 cylinders per day across state-owned treatment facilities, the government is working hard to ensure availability. Sanwo-Olu said that so far about 5,000 patients had been reached through the Echo Telemed and more than 1,000 care packs delivered to patients in the home-based care program. In other parts of Africa, a suspected suicide cab bomb exploded on Sunday in Somalia's capital and was followed by a shootout between militants and security forces at a hotel, causing an unknown number of casualties. The militant Islamist group Al-Shabaab, which is linked to Al-Qaeda and often carries out bombings in its war on Somalia's government, claimed responsibility through its radio station. The incident happened in the busy Kilometer 4 area of Mogadishu. Reports say security forces besieged the area where cars are inspected en route to the airport and where politicians regularly gather at the hotel. A police spokesman said many people had been rescued from the Hotel Afrique, but noted that there must be casualties because the militants first started the attack with a suicide cab bomb against the wall. Tunisian Health Ministry on Sunday reported 1,417 new COVID-19 cases, raising the total number of infections in the country to 208,885. The death toll from the virus in Tunisia rose by 74 to 6,754. The number of hospitalized COVID-19 patients in the country reached 2,118, including 422 in intensive care units. A total of 861,204 lab tests have been carried out in Tunisia so far, and that's according to the ministry. State television in the Republic of the Union of Myanmar has shown footage of acting President Min Swe reading a statement and meeting with the country's top military officers. Army Chief Min Hiling was also visibly present at the meeting. Myanmar's military seized power on Monday in a coup against the democratically elected government of Nobel laureate Aung San Suu Kyi. She was detained along with other leaders of her National League for Democracy Party, NLD, in early morning raids. The army said it carried out the detentions in response to election fraud. Meanwhile, the United Nations Special Envoy for Myanmar and British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has condemned a military coup on Monday as an outrageous overturn of democracy. The army has handed power to military chief Min Aung Hlaing and imposed a state of emergency for 1 year. The generals made their move hours before Parliament had been due to sit for the first time since the NLD's landslide win in a November 8th election, viewed as a referendum on Suu Kyi's fledgling democratic government.
It's just outrageous. It's deeply disturbing. We're still getting information from Myanmar, as you, I'm sure, know. The communication lines have been cut, so there's a lot that we don't know. But what we do know is that democracy has been overturned by the generals. Many people are now in detention. The international community is committed to working together to see that this does not stand. The people of Myanmar need to know, first and foremost, that the world is watching and that the world is with them. They are not forgotten, and they're not being forgotten.
The Asian Development Bank, ADB, on Monday announced $25 million in financial aid to help the Philippines purchase COVID-19 vaccines. The Manila-based bank said financing will come from a $125 million loan program, which was approved in August last year. It aims to support the Philippine government's efforts to handle the COVID-19 pandemic. ADB president said that vaccination was the next critical step to protect lives and promote livelihood and opportunities. The loan came as the World Health Organization announced that the Philippines will be getting a total of 44 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines from COVAX, a global initiative to ensure rapid and equitable access to COVID-19 vaccines for all countries. In sports news, after a widely successful debut in 2020, the ATP Cup kicks off in more subdued circumstances in Melbourne on Tuesday, February 5th. And Novak Djokovic is looking to get champion Serbia off to a flying start against Canada in the truncated team-based event. Last year's tournaments featured 24 nations and played to packed houses across the country. But the upcoming event has been reduced to 12 teams, and all the action will be confined to Melbourne Park due to the COVID-19 biosecurity measures. Crowd capacity for this year has been capped at 25%. Djokovic, unbeaten in 8 ties, was majestic in last year's tournament as he fired Serbia to a 2-1 victory over Spain in the final, including a straight sets win over Rafael Nadal.
The fans and are as excited as players. I mean, it was a unique experience for, I think, for every one of us coming to Australia and being 14 days in quarantine. For some easier, for some worse, obviously. But in the end of the day, we are all out, and of course, I'm hoping that everyone will be able to be fit and perform.
Well, at home was pretty equal. When we arrived here, we have this quarantine. But I think that's over. You know, it's the moment to start talking about tennis. That's why we came here to play tennis, to try to give to the fans around the world and to the fans here in Australia a good show, and for some of the people who are suffering a lot at home, try to entertain and have a good entertainment for them.
That's the news at this hour. For more stories, please follow us at Plus TV Africa on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. And please do subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa. We'll be back later with more stories making the headlines. I am Annetta Felix. Thanks for watching.
For upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Booking November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
A 500 naira they collect them. If you no talk, they go beat you. Now 2,500 they pay.
Hello and welcome to What Are You Saying? #Ways, where we talk about topics in the news as it affects us all. I am Osayome Sally, and today, hey, somebody's back. Go Lammy. The birthday girl is here. We did a shout out for you. I hope you watched the show yesterday.
I did not.
See your life.
I'm sorry.
we did a shout out to the birthday girl.
My siblings came around. So
so you had so much fun.
Not really, but the whole house was just taking over, and I didn't have access to the TV.
So can you imagine? Well, we did a birthday shout out for you.
Thank you very much.
So how are you doing?
I'm doing very well.
How has your 3 weeks of isolation been?
I said, my sibling. I got exposed to my siblings that all had COVID. You didn't let me land. I said, I give you 3 weeks. But isolation is 14 days.
No, I gave you extra 1 week.
You didn't even let me land. I said, you got exposed. Go for 3 weeks.
Oh my God. I can imagine join us via Zoom. AK. Safety is paramount. AK, you there? AK, can you hear me?
Yes, I am.
Did you listen
to
us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, go ahead, AK. How are you? You're looking so lovely. I love your outfit. It's so beautiful.
Actually, her color.
Thank you.
Her color
Thank you.
and her outfit matches.
Let's pick up with you that you're in the studio.
Yes, so yes, I think it's a bit delayed. But how are you, AK? How is everything?
Fine, thank you. I'm good. The week has been fine.
Awesome.
And been fair to me. So it's been a good week. Normal work. Everything has been fine, really. There's nothing to complain about.
Awesome. All right, today we have an interesting conversation. We started a conversation yesterday on tribal bias and the impact on leadership, and today we thought to take it further. You know, because sometimes people don't understand something until you put naira and kobo to it, you understand? So what's the impact on the economy? And here's what we found as today's quote. Patriotism is when the love of your own people comes first. Nationalism is when hate for people other than your own comes first. So Charles de Gaulle. I'm thinking, you know, a lot of people say we're patriotic, but it doesn't really show in the way we treat our fellow Nigerians in terms of putting the country first, putting other people first. In Nigeria, it is me and my family and my tribe.
But that was where Nigeria was designed anyway. It wasn't designed to be a nation anyway. It was designed... I don't want to go into the crux of that.
No wahala, we will talk about that.
That's where Nigeria is designed, and there's nothing we can do about it.
I just hope we become patriotic. I hope so.
I don't see it.
All right, so it's our final episode for the month and the week as well. And we decided to make it a ladies' night out again, and we will be discussing the impact of tribal bias on the economy. Also, we would open the phone lines again to hear what you have to say. But first, let's take a break for what's in the news.
We can't talk about education reform if we don't decolonize our education system.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize. Because it's just cultural. And I think it's just human nature.
They stop paying us salary. I don't like remembering it.
I am angry at Nigeria. I'm angry at this government which seems to be letting us down. I am angry at us as a people.
In the process of struggling to free myself from his hand, he tore my pants and he raped me.
Yes, I commit offense truly.
Young girl, do you know where you are going? I say, I'm going to America. I say, now so that they talk, you are going to Libya. Which America?
As it then do mark our place, some people they die now.
This is Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
Thanks for staying with us. So we'll just go straight into what we found in the news. AK, I'll come to you first. What did you find for us in the news today? AK? All right, so let me come to you, Lami, before we get back AK's connection here. So what do you think? Go ahead.
Okay, the PTF, the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, is meeting the idea of trying another lockdown on Lagos, Abuja, and Plateau states. They said the states are the super spreaders. So I think what they are trying to do is they don't want to do a general lockdown, but they're trying to target probably local governments to lock it down. I am just imploring, I am begging them not to try it.
Why?
It's going to come with severe backlash. Don't forget that if the lockdown worked the first time, why are we going into a second one? If it did not work, why are we going into another one? Do you understand? It severely impaired people's businesses, children, mental health status, women's businesses were... So you now want to embark on another one.
So what do you propose would be the best solution to handle...
Okay, as we are speaking, churches are still open. Gatherings, parties, people are going to parties, Owambe, every weekend. They didn't try to stop all that. At least target, where the large gatherings are. And probably maybe curfew or something. But to now totally lock down the economy, it is going to have a severe backlash. And these people are just hypocrites. When Issa Pantami went on his insane directive of NIN and all that, there was an emergency. The Minister for Communication or Digital or whatever he said. The PTF did not say anything. I really do not understand the kind of federal government, the kind of government they are running. There is no coordination.
But
they were speaking from another side of the mountain. The PTF was saying avoid large gatherings and all that. Issa Pantami, who is Lord unto his own self, was saying something else. And they couldn't reconcile
so that is
Don't
why,
they sit together?
So that is why these your churches that you are saying and these other people will not want to take any word from because the government in itself
they're Confucianists.
They are seen not to even obey their own rules. There's so much division within
this
the parastatal.
Thing, you know what could have done? Just technology. Put your details, everything on internet. Enter your details on the internet. Then if we still have to do your biometrics, which has to be physical.
On appointment.
Thank you. Is it not simple? Is it not simple? Why do we have to make things hard in this country? Just give everybody 15 minutes every day. In 2-3 months, they will exhaust the number of people that want it done.
Absolutely. Well,
I'm not going to another lockdown. I should not try it too.
Okay. Okay.
I'll just relocate to another local government.
Let's take me with you.
Okay, come in, please.
Okay, so my story is actually linked to our topic today, our discussion. And it's taken from a Vanguard. It says, Fulani being persecuted because of Buhari. And this was said by Sule Lamido, a former governor of Jigawa State. And he said that the Fulani were being persecuted because the country does not like the president. Now, I don't know if you've been following the news for the past 2 weeks. You would find out the several complaints about, the activities of the headsmen and the Fulani people, to be specific, especially in the southwest region. And the governor of Ondo State, Governor Rotimi Akeredolu, gave a 7-day ultimatum. And also somewhere in, I think in Ibadan,
yes.
Also an ultimatum for them to, by Sunday, Adeyemo, to leave a particular area in Oyo State. Now, why did I bring this up? One, apart from the fact that it related to what we're talking about, is that Lamido did not see beyond the activities that these people have been accused of. Instead, he's lacing them with the fact that because they are related to the president, that is why they have been persecuted. I just think it's very shallow. People are suffering, people are going through things, and the kidnappings are real. These things are happening, and the only reason you could come out to say that the people that are taking the actions is because they don't like the president. I feel it's too shallow. It's just too shallow.
I can't remember because of time. Sorry, let me cut you. My take on this issue is, I don't like the president, and that's the truth. And as a Nigerian, it's going to be very hard to like the president, because this is a man who has favored nepotism. So all the appointment keeps going to the Northerners. So is it not easy for someone not to like the president? So what's he saying? It is easy for me not to like the president because he has favored a particular set of
Yeah. Let me just come in. So my take is, it's okay not to like the president. I'm not saying love the president, but you cannot situate and encapsulate a whole problem that certain people are going.
And you just reduce it to just because of the president. That is a very, very,
the president that keeps quiet when all this is happening.
Not even that. It's a very evasive way of handling issues. Because you are trying to just limit it to say, oh, because they don't like me, that's why they are doing this. I mean, I think, well,
in the myriad of problems.
We'll talk more on that when we're having our conversation. But my story is actually good news. It's a bit of mixed feelings for me, but it's good news. It says several missing Chibok girls, schoolgirls, escaped from Boko Haram. This was on CNN Instagram page. I found that some Chibok girls that were abducted nearly 7 years ago have finally escaped from their captors. A father of one of the girls told CNN, she asked me, "Is this my daddy? Is this my daddy?" And she started crying.
Oh my goodness.
The crying was so much that I couldn't even hear very well. I was crying too. I never expected to hear from her again. That's from one of the father, Ali Miyanga. That was what he said. I mean, so for me, I'm so happy. I am so happy that they have been, reunited with their family. I mean, 7 years, that's a lot.
Was that 7 or 6?
No, 7 years. That's really? A lot. Yeah, 7 years ago. Like joke.
Was it 2013?
Like joke, yes, 7 years ago. And so for me, why I even chose this story is we just relieved service chiefs, right?
And girls are escaping.
And all of a sudden, girls are escaping from their captors, from Boko Haram. So I'm wondering, okay, is there something, is it tied to the fact that maybe I don't know if there's a new security, what's it called, that has given them the capacity to be able to do that? You know, why now? Why it's so apt just today?
My take on it is, irrespective of the fact that I'm happy, I'm elated that the girls some of them have also been released from captivity. How? You just said 7 years. How are they going to get reintegrated into the society? Are they going to go back to education? Are they going to marry them off?
That's 7 years.
It's 7 years of being in captivity.
You should have finished your
living with people who are not human
finished your
beings.
university and done about 2 masters with that.
Do you
time.
understand?
Yeah.
These people who have been dehumanized, their humanity has been taken completely away from them. I think the federal government needs to take over those girls and reintegrate them.
I hope they do that. AK, do you want to add something to that, or we'll just move on?
Yes. Yes, I was going to say that in any sane client, already there would be a program that these girls will have to go through to be able to, find a way to fit them back into the society. I think there needs to be like a psychiatric evaluation. They need to talk to a psychologist because it's a lot. Just imagine people that have been kidnapped for 1 or 2 weeks and they come out and they tell you they are
traumatized.
And then you're talking about 7 whole years. There needs to be, I agree with Lami, there needs to be a program that these girls will go through to get them settled, to get them even to begin to just, embrace society and live well again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So today we're discussing tribal bias and the impact on the economy, right? I mean, this is something that has impacted the economy. Imagine all those number of girls out of school. That school will shut down because there's no economic activity going on in that school. But we'll take a break, right? When we return, we'll have our conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. Now, tribal intolerance over the years leading to conflict has taken a huge toll on the economic power of some regions of our nation. Perhaps estimating the cost of some of our actions can help us rise above tribal bias. As it's commonly said in Nigeria, issues that have to do with Naira and Kobo have no tribe or religion. Now, growing up in Kaduna, I saw so much trade, investment, and intertribal engagements. As soon as the now unending clashes started, there was heavy migration out of that state, and whenever I go back to home to Kaduna, it's almost like a ghost town. Lagos, on the other hand, has experienced a high population explosion, as it seems very accommodating of non-tribal citizens, and the results show on her GDP. Now, how do we restore intertribal relationships, right, to boost our economy in all regions of our dear country? Now, please let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join this conversation. Tweet at us at WadeShowAfrica1 with the hashtag WadeShow, or send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. All right, ladies, it's our ladies' night out. We're going to open the phone lines at the second half of the conversation, but I wanted to do like a background, the background foundation, laying it down.
I was going to take you on your introductory.
Okay, which is what?
We were talking about the fact that you reflect upon Lagos.
Yes.
That Lagos is taking the game. I don't think so. I think it's such a burden
on Lagos,
on the facility and the infrastructure.
Absolutely.
Look at the influx of northerners. They've taken over the streets. Most of them are the beggars. So it's also a burden on Lagos. I don't see the benefit because Lagos is a small country. Yeah, so it's a small state.
But economically, I mean, activities are going on. Even with...
we don't have the infrastructure to support it.
Yeah, so this is why we're having a conversation.
And insecurity
is on the rise. Yes, it's on the rise. It's on the rise.
Absolutely. If every state in Nigeria has probably, maybe not vertical development, but if at least they are par,
yes,
people will be free to migrate, live anywhere. The pressure on Lagos will be reduced. Everybody I can live in Kano. I don't have to live in Lagos. But now, once you're finishing school,
you're thinking of Lagos.
Is either Lagos or Abuja.
Okay, let me come to you, AK.
Yes, please.
What do you think, the impact of tribal bias? How bad do you think it has really impacted our economy in Nigeria?
You know why I started off with a smile? Because what has it not done? Because I'm just thinking, what can we not link to it? You get, tribalism affects the way we think, what we believe, what we choose to believe, how we choose to treat people, the attributes the things that we attribute, or the characters that we attribute to a particular person. So when you hear that somebody's from the South, what do you think first? When you hear that somebody's from the South and is angry, you say, oh, that's the way they behave. So tribalism lists all our thoughts. So if somebody behaves in a certain way, you say, he's behaving like that because he's from the North. People from the North behave that way. Or he's intelligent because he's from this place. Or she speaks like this because she's from that place. She knows how to cook because so it's an unconscious bias that you are. Because when it comes to, most of the time I say, I can cook, and the first thing is, it's because you're from this place. So there is nothing that has not affected, both positively and negatively, both consciously and unconsciously. Even myself, I am unconsciously biased if I'm not consciously so. So there is nothing that I cannot tie to tribalism in this country. It has built a lot of mistrust. That's the main thing. It has built a lot of mistrust. But in places where people can coexist to a certain level, to a certain tolerance, such as Lagos, you can see the development that happens. Now, Lami was saying everybody runs to Lagos. Why? Because there's a certain level of tolerance that Lagos has for everyone that comes here. There's a certain right that we all feel we belong. So Lagos in itself kind of, unifies people to a certain extent. Yes, I know that there are tribal lines, okay? But to a certain extent, everybody feels somehow that they belong. But tribalism has injured us. So I was listening to the show yesterday, and both Isi and Uti did justice to the topic. Tribalism has encouraged mediocrity. So we accept things from our kingsmen, just like the quote that we had yesterday, leave him, is our thief. If it's someone else's thief, kill him. If it's our thief,
leave the thief.
You get it has made the offices, yes, it has made the offices that people occupy. We now have people without merit in those offices. Why? Because it is a turn for that ethnic group. It's a turn for that person. So let me just, as we progress, I would share more. Let me just let you girls just, delve into the matter too.
They're already agreeing with Lami on her position with okay, I'll come back to that question. They disagree with you, but go ahead. So Lami, impact, right? The way I see this thing, right? If we go back to history, a lot of people lived in Kano, non-northerners. I mean, all the people that I know that are my friends today that we grew up in Kaduna, they are not northerners at all. They're either from Edo State, from Yoruba land, and all of that. As in, for us, Kaduna was a melting point for all tribes to thrive. And guess what? The economy in Kaduna was booming, right? Of course, then NNPC was working, the textile companies were working. So you had a lot of people living there and working there, and they were secured. But as soon as the riots started, and it was becoming like an unending thing every time, Sharia crisis, Sharia riots, Sharia this, Sharia that, a lot of people started leaving Lagos State, Kaduna State, and moving down south, right? And now I can see that when you go back home, right, to Kaduna State, there's zero economic activity going on there, right? So it seems like I would still say that Lagos, for me, it's like a New York, right? Whether they like it or not, the onus is on Lagos State government, to improve and invest more in their infrastructure so that they can expand the capacity. Because truly, all states cannot develop at the same pace. No. Because in our minds right now, right, as Nigerians, when you go to the north, the way they are thinking is completely skewed. It's different from the way you would think. Right? So you really, at the point where we are at, I'm suggesting that Lagos should invest more. No, they can't take all the burden, but let them invest more in their infrastructure.
I think that Lami has a point, though, and I slightly disagree with you, Uwa. Lami, before you enter, I slightly disagree with you, Uwa. It is the responsibility of every government to provide for it. So before you were governor, you know how many people were in your state. Okay, the infrastructure for your state. So if anybody runs to Lagos and put the money on Lagos, what are those people doing with the money that they have to develop their state? You get, so I get the burden of infrastructure that Lami is talking about, and it's a real problem. I think the problems generate from a failed federal system.
Yeah. Thank you.
Because if there is a conducive environment in Kaduna, see, when I wanted to serve, believe me or not, I wanted to go to Jos. Because I heard so much about Jos. I wanted to be in Jos. I grew up in Port Harcourt. I never wanted to live in Lagos. That was before all the riots, because I just felt that these people were living a chaotic life.
Yeah, Jos was another very peaceful place. Very peaceful.
We used to go on road trip to Jos.
Security. So it's from a failed federal system. It's from a failure of the government to provide the basic infrastructure. It's from a failure of the governors to do what they're supposed to do. So it's a long line of failure that is making Lagos overpopulated. Because you made a very good point. If everybody provides infrastructure for their people, opportunity to generate that income by even giving them the basic things for them to operate, we will not be where we are.
Absolutely.
Not everybody wants to live in Lagos. Lagos is chaotic.
And it's expensive as well.
Because part of this are reasons why Lagos is expensive. Look at the rent, where 70% of your income goes to rent. That is not sustainable. Everything is fragile, and it's going to. That is why you were saying that when you were growing up, quite a number of people were in Kaduna. I was going to say, at that time, Nigeria's unity from 1960 up until here was artificial and very fragile. That is why it has cracked. It was cracking, but now it has just given way completely. And what happened is the imperialists, the British government, they lumped us together without our will. If you look at the United States, there are 50 states, but they are operating a federal system of government where every state is allowed to develop on its own merit. But don't forget that when they were going to bring them together, you as a country would apply. I want to be part of you. Do you understand? Exactly. Before they bring you in. In Arizona is divided into two. There's a part that falls to the United States, and there's a part that said we want to remain in Mexico. And there was a demarcation. Go and see the two today. It was a will of the people. But in this case, it was an artificial, so the ethnic diversity was already there. Now, look at, because I went back to history to look at what is the genesis of this problem. In 1959, when they did federal elections, look at the parties. AG, Yoruba State, led by Awolowo. NCNC, the likes of Azikwe. NPC, the likes of Tafawa Balewa. Nigeria was built on ethnic tribalism, whether we like it or not. Look at the way they started voting at that time. When the fragility of the unity was tested between 1960 and 1966, that was when the coup. And what happened? What ignited the coup? It was ethnicity.
Ethnicity, yeah.
Until today, we have not gotten it right, and we will never get it right unless we go back to the drawing board. So look at the constitution we have today. It was bequeathed to us by the military who was operating a unitary system. So they gave us a unitary constitution disguised as a federal system. It is not going to work. So you're all saying tribalism. What the issue is human beings, the way we are wired. We are not wired, we are wired to rely on each other. And part of relying on each other is when you can speak a false sense of common, to have something in common. Familiar. If you go to New York today and you hear somebody speaking your language on the bus or on the train, you will get attracted to that person immediately. So it's a human nature. Look at the state of most development in Africa. It's the same problem. Somali, everywhere. It is because of this. Africa as a whole we are multi-ethnic. It's a multi-ethnic continent. So the imperialists came thinking that they can just divide us like this with like slice of, butter. And they were the ones that gave us the bad foundation. What they should have done instead of federal government should have been a
regional government
or even a confederate government where the center will be so weak and the states, because going back to regional government now is going to be very, very tough. Difficult.
You think so?
Even within your Edo state. Do you people agree? where is going to
look at Delta State now. Isoko, Urobo. That's true.
But at least we can limit the problems. And I know it's coming down.
Yeah.
But at least if we now do it by public states, it will be limited. People will now focus on the local government. The local government will be they will be stronger. So the focus will be there. Then you cannot develop education, develop healthcare. But you cannot develop, Nigeria is 200 and something million people. The federal doesn't have the capacity for it. So it is not going to work. We are all screaming.
But Lami, in all these things you're saying, in the history that you are giving us, I mean, my 30s, what happened between then and now? Are you trying to say that, what went wrong? Because when I was growing up, when I see a Nigerian, is a Nigerian.
You, because how old were you at that time?
We're in employment. You.
That's my point.
No, that was you. So if you listen to Lami when she was giving that history, because I was going to come to talk about that, you can feel from the beginning it was divided. It was a matter of time.
It was fragile.
It was a matter of time. We have always been along divided lines. And that is why the battle of corruption, I don't know when it can be won. So let me not be very negative, because as long as tribalism persists, as long as we keep seeing ourselves like my brother can stay there, can steal officially, we would never conquer corruption. Let me not use the word never because it's very strong. It will be almost impossible to conquer it. So have we been divided from time past? Yes. It's just that our population is increasing. The pot that was holding us in that our fight is cracking, as Lami has said. So the North has always had a Northern party, Southern party, but we had divided it a long time ago. And the people that amalgamated us did it for their convenience. It was for them to rule better, and not just because they wanted to put us as the people together. It was for their convenience. So Lami is making a very strong point, and I think probably maybe it's your upbringing.
I can imagine. Sorry,
it's not about upbringing now.
There were lots of wait.
I've always thought this way. That is why Yoruba at that time would not marry Igbo.
Till today,
it's taboo. It is even now that we're breaking those things. You're a Hausa person, you're going to bring a Southern person. Are you mad? You want to marry them?
I was going to say that even from the home, they encourage it. An average Nigerian family accommodates tribalism.
Are you sure about this?
No, now when you bring, even my dad will tell you, Ondo people are this. Wara people are this. My father categorically told us that I cannot go to the East for anybody's marriage, wedding ceremony. If you don't choose somebody from the Southwest, when I get to the border, I will just wave to you. And that's it. He told us
but these things are true. They're very true. And they're very
so how do you expect me to now go to
even in these modern times that people are allowing some of these intertribal marriages to occur. It was a very big thing. So you marry your kind. You marry your kind. You marry your ethnic.
Sorry.
In the South, they were divided.
Akanimo, sorry to cut you. Even that intertribal marriage you're saying, most of it is artificial. Ask people that are in it. They will tell you it is not easy. You will follow your husband to his village, and they would, because they don't like you. The man married you because he insisted, but they will show you pepper. You will go for Christmas, and they will be speaking their language, and they obviously know that you don't understand. Is that not tribalism within the marriage?
But I'm married to a northerner now. Okay, so let me explain why I'm saying.
I'm married to a westerner.
Oh, you are married.
Are we treating you nicely?
Well, I'm telling you that these things are allowed now. We're beginning to break it down now.
Akanimo, so the point I was trying to make before Lami is attacking me, I will leave two of you today to talk. I was saying that, the number of traders in the north, right, we're mostly Igbos, right? Mostly Igbos and the Westerners. Do you get? I mean, my mom was from Edo State, in Kaduna State. We had loads of, in our restaurant, we had heavy patronage because they were just in love with that, a different kind of meal from what they eat, because this was an Edo woman properly cooking well, a good meal. So I'm saying that just imagine the amount of commerce that was going on. I know my mom would go to Kano, even in Kano as well. They had a lot of foreigners there trading. Right, but all of these things,
you are mixing two things together.
Wait now. We are talking about the impact on the economy.
So let her finish.
But all of these things, right? So are we saying that, now you're making me lose my thoughts.
I'm sorry.
You're making me lose my thoughts. So are we saying that all those things that happened, that people were investing then, it was just waiting to happen? No, there was genuine, willingness to leave your place of, because we were actually tolerant of each other then. So I'm saying that what made the gap wider?
Listen,
Uwa,
any country
that has... Please, can I ask you a question?
Yes, please.
Let me ask you a question for this. Uwa, what did you think the problem was? Because people did not just wake up and have new religion. What did you think the problem? Why do you think that the fighting started?
Maybe you should answer the question.
In your opinion.
It was just a time bomb.
The bomb busted. Because people didn't just have different opinions. They didn't just wake up to have different opinions. They didn't just wake up to change religions. The bubble busted. Okay, somebody's feeling that somebody is growing. If this is not checked, this is my territory. This is what will happen. So the tolerance that you said was there, and I wouldn't probably argue on that, but the things that happened that are still now happening did not happen overnight. There was nothing new. There was no new introduction. Okay. The Southern people came with their religion. The Northern people had their religion. So did they just, realize that, you're not my religion. Oh, let's start fighting. No.
Okay, so we're going to take a very short break. When we return, we'll continue the conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Now, if you're just tuning in, it's our final episode for the month and our ladies' night out, and we're discussing the impact of tribal bias and conflict on our economy. Now, our phone lines are open, so you can call. Then let us also hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join this conversation. Tweet at us at WayShowAfrica1 with the hashtag WayShow, or send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. I think we have some WhatsApp messages. Let me take yours first, then I'll come to your comments.
No, I think you should take yours first.
No. Akanimore, if she's there.
Okay. So I'm reading from Benson. His comment is, I disagree with Lami on her position.
Okay.
The wealth Dubai attracts today is an attraction to external visitors. And by that, I think it means tourists. Lagos needs to arrange herself to convert all to value. Moreover, it is the visitors that bring transformation to their economy.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I'm going to disagree with that person. These are two different things. You go to Dubai, you are just granted a 2 weeks or probably 2 month visa, and you're expected to leave. Dubai does not make you a citizen, no matter the number of years you spend there. Even if you have a child there and the child spends all their formative years, which occurs in other Western countries, you can never be an Emirati, even if you get married to them. So they're just taking your money. But here, the person migrates to Lagos and comes in.
But you can never be a Lagosian.
No, that's not the issue. This is a federal system. Do you understand? So it's even constitutional that I am entitled to education and everything in Lagos. Now, I don't go to Dubai to stretch their facilities. I go there to spend my money, and I'm expected to leave their country. They cannot uproot you from Lagos. It is not constitutional to do that. They can't deport you back to your state. So it is stretching the facilities. So I don't think that comparative analysis is right. I think you should look into it again. It's not possible. It's two different things. You see the northerners, they will come, they will start begging and all that. We don't go to Dubai to beg. It's not possible. But if you constitute a nuisance in Dubai, you are right back in your country the next day.
But let me flip it. Let me play
the devil's advocate.
Let me flip it. I'm thinking, if I want to understand Benson's comment, imagine if all states are more tolerant like Lagos, right? So if people go into the state, they're able to contribute economically to the state. So the job, if I hear him correctly, the job of the government or the job of the state government is to make your state as welcoming as possible. Now, if you are thinking,
we were saying that
if you're thinking Zamfara, would you ever go to Zamfara? I wouldn't go to Zamfara because of the
development is not at par.
It's not even the development; it's the insecurity too that is even my head.
But the insecurity leads to stunted development.
Contribute to that.
Go ahead.
I'd like to contribute to that. Even in cities, even in countries where he's saying that, world over people are welcoming. When you go to Canada, you will tell them what you are going to go to do in Canada.
And the money that you are taking there.
Is that not how they evaluate it? So when you go, you are contributing to the infrastructure, you're contributing to the growth of the system. So there's a proper immigration system in place. Okay, so you don't just.
It's not like within Nigeria where you can just go anywhere.
That's what I'm saying.
I get you, Lami. I get you. All right, you're going to take your comment before you come.
Oh my goodness.
I get you, Lami.
You want to migrate to Canada? They will evaluate you very well.
You want to check whether you're adding value.
Benefits to their state.
Yeah.
The government should extend the Lagos seaport to that of Ondo and force the oil companies to the Niger Delta. Revive the textile mills, and the iron steel companies. 20% of Lagos state residents would relocate. Did you get that one?
What he's saying is that. So if they imagine if they revive the textile mills in Kaduna, of course people would migrate back to Kaduna State because there are now job opportunities. So economically, right, all of this.
But Lagos cannot extend the seaport.
All this tribal intolerance that has led to a lot of conflict across different parts of Nigeria has weakened the economic growth of individual states within the nation, right? So we're having a
ethnic bias leads to conflict.
Yes.
What does conflict lead to?
On the development, that's what I'm saying now. So this is the point we're saying. So what we are trying to do is look at it from that point, that can we maybe start to send a message of more tolerance amongst each other. Maybe then we can go back. But you are saying that it's not possible because the structure from day one was designed to fail. Now you are making me hopeless.
Sorry, but that's the plain truth. The issue is even from the home. The family, which is the smallest unit of the society, we encourage tribalism. A 5-year-old child who goes to school and has Ngozi and Abubakar as his friend, a Yoruba girl, the mom will say, is there no Yoruba girl in your class? Why are you friends with why are all your friends Igbo?
For me, I won't do that.
You're in the minority.
Jesus.
So how do we begin to change the psyche
mindset,
of a lot of people? All of us are all complicit in this matter because we grew up in that toxic environment. Generalization. Calabar women know how to cook. Yoruba women know they do jazz. Hausa, it's right there in our psyche. So I don't know how that's going to be, how we can overhaul that.
Let me come to you.
So I think that a lot of work needs to be done by all the leaders. And when I mean leaders from every stratosphere of the society, from the family to the government. Even the way we teach needs to change. And, I don't think that we really teach ethnicity in schools. If you look at unity in schools, if you look at the curriculum, is there enough for you to trust the other person coming from? There are 3 ethnic groups: Yoruba, Igbo, Hausa, and that's all. What are we learning about each other's culture? And I'm talking about from the grassroots, okay, from even as little as kindergarten. Okay, how are people being taught? So there needs to really be, I don't know how long it will take us, and who would be able to stand up to that challenge, especially from the leadership position as in the government, who would be able to do that, because that's what needs to change. If we keep doing things the same way, keep learning the same way, keep talking to each other the same way, I don't know. I don't want to sound hopeless. Lami has already given you the verdict, but then that's the reality.
Lami has weakened me. She has made me feel very hopeless, but I want to be hopeful because, you see, I'm trying to paint a big picture here. Just imagine having a Calabar kitchen in Zamfara State, right? People would generally want to look forward to visiting that state because they know that, okay, a Calabar person can go do business there, live there, because something familiar is within the territory, right? Why can't we look beyond some of these, things that they have fed into our head? Rightly so, truly, a lot of people, but these things are strange to me. Because honestly, if I see you, I see Lami. I don't see a Yoruba girl, right? But I know some people, they look at everything through the eye of, tribe. They look at everyone through the eye of tribe. So they will not, so that thing is there. But is it possible with what we have? Let's say the constitution is not going to change. Let's say the structure is not going to change, right? What you're preferring, the solution you're preferring, let's say that is not going to change. Can we not just look at it and say, you know what, for the bigger picture of building a stronger economy in Nigeria, let us all be tolerant of each other? My children are northerners. They are in Osun State, bettering that economy because the school is one of the biggest schools in Osun. They don't joke with the school. Because outside of the school, that they are contributing to the state in terms of maybe taxes or whatever, the community
benefits from it.
Every single year 10 will do something for the community. They've built community town hall. They've done this. It is the Obas that will tell them that this is the project you want you to do this year. Parents will contribute. That is increasing the GDP of that state.
But
do you understand?
When it's time for election, no matter the number of years you stay in that state,
you can never be so how do we fight that? So we have to go back to the constitution?
I don't know, but
hey. Okay, so we have a call. Sorry, AK, I'm going to
education has a great part to play.
Okay, AK, let me just.
And when I mean education, I'm not talking about going to school.
AK, let me just take a call quickly. I'll come back to you, AK. Thank you for calling. Let's hear what you have to say, please. Are you there? I think we lost the call. Hello? Is he there? Okay, so AK, go ahead, please. We lost the call. AK, go ahead.
Maybe I should use the word sensitization, but a lot of people need to hear these discussions. And maybe, I don't know how from bottom up would be effective, but I think one of the most important tools we can use are the policies. that govern us all? Can we change the structure? Is it possible? Will the leaders and the lawmakers, will they be willing to have laws that are more encompassing? Can we look at merits, for example? How can we solve this issue? From the bottom up, can we have, programs such as ours educate people that there is value in seeing people beyond their ethnic group? Now, there's strength in that.
Oh, Sugar, we're having trouble with AK. Richard, are you there? Thank you for calling us. Let's hear what you have to say. Is Richard there? I think we're having trouble with the phone lines. Yeah. AK, are you back? Maybe you can continue. We lost you for a minute.
Oh, and I have been talking.
Sorry.
I was saying that, there has to be a top to bottom approach, and then it has to be a bottom to top approach. And from the top to bottom approach, we need to look at policies that actually unify. We need to take a look again at federal character. We need to take a look at how we allocate positions based on ethnic groups instead of merits. I know it's very hard because we're not used to it. Everybody will cry of cheating. We need to do things that will build trust.
Okay. Richard, I hear you're back. Thank you for joining us. Let's hear what you have to say.
Okay, I think the major... Good evening, guys.
Good evening. Thank you for calling.
I think the major culprits here are actually the elite. When they see that the tide is not going their way, the next thing they do is either they fly the tribal kite or the religious kite. If you see what happened on the 20th of October last year, as soon as the shooting took place, the next thing that happened in a place like Lagos was a rumor started going around that those hoodlums destroying things in Lagos were Igbos. So the next thing, they started this slang, Yoruba Ronu or something like that. If not because some people came up and stopped what they planned to happen, it would have changed from the normal EndSARS thing to a cyber war. The same thing happened in Rivers State at Obibo. It was Igbo against. Do you understand? I think the only way we can handle this thing is for us to have a united voice, just like that time we had that EndSARS protest against the elite. Because, let me tell you two guys, with that thing that happened in October, shook these guys to their bone marrow. So the only thing they did to quell everything was to fly that tribal kite again. And that was it. So I think it's for us to come together as a people and forget about those things that fear us, those things that divide us, and come together and accept ourselves. Okay, look at you, Uwa. You are from Edo, but you're married to someone else. Look at Zojo there, married to Yoruba land. And she's enjoying from your face. She's enjoying your marriage and enjoying your in-laws. So why do they keep telling us these people are bad when they're not bad? So
thank you, Richard.
I mean,
valid because I want to thank you so much, Richard. That's the point. Like, I want to believe that this is actually doable. It can work. Olamide. Now, I want to ask you my own question.
Yes.
If I decide to be your governor tomorrow, will you vote for me in Lagos State?
Why not? If
That's
I know
the
you are
point.
competent.
That is the point.
Why not?
So why do we have to always... So I think we can be smarter than these tribal lines, right? We can be smarter. I just wish...
The level of distrust in this, I don't know how we can completely overhaul that. It is endemic.
Can I chip in something?
Yes,
so sorry, all the while I was talking previously, I muted myself. So I was actually talking to myself. But I was going to say that what is the proportion of people that think like you and I and everyone here? Even when we're doing this EndSARS protest, who were the people in front? They were the people who had some level of education, who had some access to information. Now, there were some other people, set of people that were not bothered about it. They did not even understand it. So they might have joined, but they did not understand the reason. Now, for us to be able to even win this war from bottom up, we need to incorporate all those people that don't understand the way we do. Because we're a very tiny fraction of the world. We're a tiny fraction. till tomorrow. I think I went somewhere yesterday. They say, if you know that enters project that false protest that false things, you get, and this was from the populace, you get the understanding. So how do we get a lot of people to come and join us? Because that's when it will work from bottom up. Because as we're talking like
what
this,
I believe, bottom up, which is what I was saying to Lamida, can we bypass this constitutional review and all those things? Because you know why? They might not want to review that constitution because it's favorable to them. The status quo is favorable to them. If we do bottom-up transaction, meaning that we start to get people at the grassroots level and everybody start to see ourselves as one, right? We start to build, then we start to demand for the right governance, and we start to vote the right people in. Gradually, we get those people into that positions where they can now change these constitutions that you're talking about that becomes much more favorable. Because I completely agree with you. Every state should manage their resources. That way the states become productive. Then you will know that, if Zamfara says that I'm not productive enough, please, Bauchi, can you come and absorb me? You seem to be doing well. Don't worry, we don't mind being under your state. You will now see that the less productive states that do not have something tangible to offer, they will begin to submit themselves naturally to the bigger states that please just absorb us as part of your state. Do you understand? So this 36 states that we have, we might end up having like only 15 states that are actually viable and they are doing economically well. Do you get my point? So if we start from that grassroots level, maybe we might find a solution. But AK, you have some comments quickly because we're running out of time.
Yes, I wanted to say one thing that's the flaw in your plan is who do these people listen to? Do they listen to you or they listen to their grassroots politician? So that's where we are. Who do they listen to?
So we should plant our
people that we want to gain.
We should plant ourselves.
Who do they trust?
We should plant ourselves because you see, this thing is destroying our economy, right? If you see Lagos, let me tell you what will happen. Crime in Lagos will explode because you know why? Jobless people will start coming into Lagos.
They're already
doing that. Crime would explode. So the economic, I'm saying that maybe if we start to tell people that the economic, impact that it will have, if you check it, it's better you just remove this tribalism from your system so that we are able to manage the state better. Because crime would increase, and at the end of the day, nobody will live in peace. That is what will happen. Because people would keep migrating into maybe the states that they perceive to be economically viable.
Imagine how Lagos will be.
It will be chaotic. But AK, take your comments then.
Okay. 1 second, please. Okay, so it says, please preach love. Let's love one another. Hausas should see an Igbo person as a brother, and Yorubas also see both Northerners and Easterners as as brothers. Tribal bias will vanish. Then the second one says, from my day, good evening, ladies. Lagos economy will continue to grow because the administration is continuous. All governors will have no choice but to follow Lagos master plan. For Nigeria to grow, our leaders must follow this master plans for the country. Everything about the country must be handled with love across the board.
Lami is chuckling, but let me take a comment then. I'll take your final comments, ladies. What is the bigger picture of who we are as a nation and what is our desire? What propels our national pride? The answer to this will surely neutralize the bias regardless of place or tribe. Then the final comment is when our Nigeria is winning any football match, we automatically become one, fully unified. It means that tribal lines can actually be overcome. That is the point. We just need to find what gives us that neutrality. Quickly, final thoughts.
The only thing that would bring us together. Okay, look at the answers. We all had one common goal. At that point, I didn't even see the tribe or anything. Our focus was NSAS. So I think if we can all come together and demand good governance, I think all the tribal lines will vanish.
Okay, then AK, how about you?
Because the distrust is from, if this Yoruba person goes there, then it means that the economic benefits will come to the Southwest. Do you understand?
Okay, well, final thoughts.
Okay, I would like to say to everyone listening that there's beauty in diversity, but we should lean on the diversity that unites us. We should lean on the things that strengthen us. And please try to educate as much people as we can in our little groups of the benefits of this unity that we seek.
Absolutely. So I would say for me, if we are more tolerant of ourselves, in terms of tribal tolerance, I can leave Lagos and go and implement my great ideas and employ so many people, call North or call West or whatever. I mean, the economic potential, right? Taking away tribal bias is so enormous. It cannot be quantified. So let us try, to take away that division, and hopefully we'll get a better nation. Thank you again, ladies. Thank you, Lami. Thank you, AK.
Thank you.
Now, Ways was birthed from the need to inform, inspire, influence lives towards action. And this year, we're starting our CSR focused on curbing unemployment in Nigeria. So if you are a company, please partner with us by allocating internship slots for job seekers. And if you are a job seeker, keep watching Ways. It's going to be an all-year-round engagement. And tell your friends to keep their eyes on Ways. In case you missed today's quote again, here it is. Patriotism is when the love of your country, your own people comes first. Nationalism, when hate for other than your own comes first. So you have to pick which side you belong. That's from Charles de Gaulle. We'll see you live on Monday as we bring you another great conversation. Enjoy.
Contrary to popular belief, corona is not a hoax. The virus is real.